and welcome to YBB Connect's student feature. My name is Mohamed Warsame, and today we have Amanda Hardman on the program. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
She's a second-year student in sustainable agriculture at the University of Alberta. Amanda has developed a biodegradable lettuce packaging prototype. This clamshell packaging was made from sugarcane fiber and was designed to be more sustainable and produce less waste. All right, so the first question I have here, Amanda, is what made you interested in sustainable packaging?
Well, I started off in science fairs. I started when I was in grade 9, and I started off just with projects about bilingualism. I went to a French immersion school, so I wanted to kind of get my feet in the water in science because it wasn't something that I thought I was going to be super interested in. But when it came to my grade 12 year, I wanted something that would kind of let me go off with a bang. I wanted a really fun project, but I just couldn't think of anything. I had a lot of interests in sustainability, not only in agriculture, but also in clothing, packaging, all that fun stuff. And so I sat down and I thought, okay, what am I interested in? And one of the things that I took inspiration from was Ten Tree and how they're using a lot of really interesting sources for their materials in their products. So like I have a gym bag that is made out of algae, like the padding is made out of algae, which I thought was so cool.
Really?
And so I sat down and I thought, okay, no, it's so cool. It
Yeah.
really is neat. And a lot of the other things that they're using too, they're really pushing the boundaries on sustainable fashion, sustainable materials, and using things that wouldn't necessarily have like a huge use. And so that's where I kind of sat down and thought, okay, so what is there something that I could do within kind of like the food sector that would incorporate this kind of resourcefulness? And that's where I came up with using this cellulose nanocrystal stuff to create plastic packaging to kind of put use to something that wasn't being utilized, or maybe like a waste product because it comes from cellulose, which could be used from waste crops, underutilized products like some forestry products. And that's kind of where I got started.
That's cool. All right, next question is, how did you acquire the resources needed to make the clamshell packaging, and what were the costs associated, if there were any?
I was very lucky to have Alberta Innovates help me out with my project because as a grade 12 student, I really couldn't afford much. I didn't have any lab space. Everything I did was from my home kind of living room. So they were very, very kind to help me out with my project and provide me with these cellulose nanocrystals. At that phase, they were still working on making these cellulose nanocrystals more of I guess more of a mainstream product. It was very much still in the testing phase, so I didn't have to pay for that. They were very kind to just spray some boxes for me. So my packaging, it's made up of a to-go box made out of sugarcane fiber, and then sprayed with these cellulose nanocrystals because unfortunately the crystals can't quite hold on their own in the format that I had. So it had to have something to kind of hold on to. So the only thing I had to buy, luckily, was the basically sugarcane to-go boxes, which it didn't look the prettiest. The packaging definitely did not look the prettiest, but it got the job done. And it was definitely more cost effective than I guess some other options.
Yeah, definitely cost effective. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, now the next question I have is, what was it like speaking at the AG Summit, and what was it your first public speaking event?
Yes, so the Youth Ag Summit honestly was so much fun. There were probably, oh gosh, is it 200 people? I should know this number. They tell us all the time of how many people are accepted into this conference, but I think it was 200 attendees if I'm not wrong. And so unfortunately, just with the mass scale of how many people there were, we didn't have the chance to speak individually, but they're doing a program now after the conference where we get to kind of work on our projects and make it more into more fully fleshed out project. And so there we'll be able to do some more speaking and interactions. But I grew up in 4-H, so I did 4-H for probably about a decade. So I was used to doing public speaking and the public speaking competitions, all that fun stuff. But I'm really looking forward to doing some more sharing as this program continues.
That's good. That's cool. Next question I have is, what steps do you think are needed to make your product ready to be marketed?
There's definitely a lot of steps. Just due to the timing of how this worked out. I was in grade 12 when the pandemic first happened. So I had my project, it was going really good. I was gaining some traction, and then everything shut down. So I stopped right at kind of like the proof of concept phase where I just tried it to see, would this combination even work? And it found out that it did. And so just as I was starting to get ready to change up the design of the packaging to be more consumer friendly, to be more effective with the resources that we have, I ended up not being able to continue that project and things just kind of got shelved. But as far as things that I'd have to continue on, definitely making it more aesthetically pleasing, making it hopefully a little bit better for shelf life of the products that are in there. There's just a lot of other stuff to be done just because I just started on the proof of concept.
All right, that's cool. Can you share any memorable experiences that happened at the Youth AG Summit?
I absolutely loved hearing about everyone else's perspectives just because it's from people all over the world. I know for me personally, a lot of the problems that I hear about the agriculture industry, it's very focused on Canada and their issues as well as,
Yeah,
Alberta and provincial issues. So being able to hear more of kind of that global perspective and hearing some more global issues that I don't get to hear about all that often was really, really interesting. And to kind of hear where everyone else is coming from as far as farming techniques, sustainable agriculture, using our resources a little bit better and more efficiently. It was very, very interesting because it's things that I would have never considered on my own.
yeah, and it's good to consider more options. Okay,
Hmm.
so next question is, have you been approached by any NGOs about your product? And if so, have you collaborated with any of them?
The only organizations that I have really worked with was obviously Alberta Innovates, that they were very gracious to let me work with them to have some of my boxes sprayed with their CNC products. And as well in my grade 12, after I had graduated and was just in the summer, the Canada-wide Science Fair runs a little program with, I believe it is the Lassonde School of Engineering. They have a little boot camp type thing is what they call it to help people take their science fair projects and turn it more into like a business. So going through kind of that pipeline of going, okay, here's the research. How do we turn this into a product that could be put in the market? So that was really fun. It was about a 3-day camp learning more about how to prepare the product. But as far as that, that's kind of it for me.
Okay. Now, can you explain further why you think? Sorry, let me just try again. Can you explain further why you think your product would not work in some countries as intended?
For sure. I definitely think that this project was made more with a very consumer focused system in mind. So thinking more of Canada, the US, Europe, but in areas where the consumer mindset and how we find our products and how we access food, if it's not with that consumer mindset of having a direct supply chain of how things work, it definitely won't be as useful. I think there are still uses that could be used where the product could be modified in some other areas, but the way that it is currently, it definitely is for more of that consumer supply chain.
All right, cool. And the last question is, uh, what's next for Amanda Hardman? Are you working on any new projects?
As of right now, I am focused on getting my degree. I have about two
That's
years
good.
left in my degree until I'm ready to go out to the world. So everything it kind of comes second place to my education. But as far as that, I'm just trying to enjoy these 4 years of freedom that I have and kind of make the most of it. And as projects come up, I kind of take them and run with it.
Thank you. Those are all the questions I had for Amanda right now. And I just want to say what you're doing is very cool. And even though it's like a small step, great things can come from small steps. And I will look
Thank you.
into your career. You're welcome. I will look into your career with interest. That's all we have today for YBB Connect Student Feature. Thank you for your time and good night.